And let's talk about the systematized universe for all you wonderful people in information system for managers. Everything ends up being a system. It's the way everybody works. And this goes back to, you can go back to prehistoric times. You can think about people living in a cave. I don't know if people really lived in caves too much. I don't know if that was a big deal, but apparently some people did. And even under those circumstances, there was a system. There was a leader. There was people who had kind of specialized jobs based on if they were good at it or if more people just were needed to do the job. So systems require negotiation of distribution of roles and work among people and across generations. It was really important that even if somebody got a role and they were really good at it, it was important for the overall system that person wasn't completely interchangeable. So you had to be able to, if you were going out and you were hunting mastodons and you had somebody who's really good at hunting mastodons, you had to make sure that you had some more people younger that were coming up to be good at hunting mastodons so that you could keep having mastodon meat for dinner. This had to go cross-generationally, had to go on forever. And the important thing about systems, they're not bad things because we really do need them to make life more manageable and to make things more regular so you can just know what you can do in life. It's a wonderful thing. Systems are very, very important. So the first thing we talk about when we talk about systems is what keeps your system. Over time, as it becomes more important for organizations or cultures to exist long term, that's kind of part of what they're described as. You need to have a system so that you can fit people and other things that are needed in an organization into the system. So the old way of doing this that was done for a couple of hundred years probably longer than that in some form or another, but we're probably most familiar with kind of the office space motif, which has people and papers and files. You'd put them in. You would get a piece of information. You'd need someplace to put that piece of information with the intent that someday you could get that piece of information back. So you had to put it in an organized fashion so that somebody could return that piece of information when it's needed. So we came up with filing systems, filing cabinets, stuff like that. It's really amazing. There are some organizations that still actually work that way. They're dying out fast. Very, very few people do it that way anymore because there was some obvious problems to it. Number one, if you wanted kind of a summary of all the information on a particular subject, it was really hard to get. It took a long time. And it usually depended upon somebody who basically just knew the information and was looking up papers out of files and filing cabinets that they could use to collect all this information for you. But it always ended up that there was it was, number one, really slow, and there was always a big bottleneck, and it was usually in a person. You really had to cater to that person, the vaunted office manager that kind of ran your company for you. And if something ever happened to that person, if they were sick or if they got or something, or if they left the company for some reason or another, you were in trouble. The new way was to try to eliminate several of these problems. Number one, you could get information much faster, which was really, really important. A lot of decisions could never be made properly because it was just too slow to get the information together. You would just have to fly by the seat of your pants a lot. Please refer to your textbook for information on hardware, software, databases, networks, and people. And that's the really important part, is that where people used to be really central to making sure that an organization, a business functioned well, it's gotten to the point to where people are more interchangeable. You don't have to train them very hard. It doesn't take incredibly specialized skills anymore. And that's true for all these pieces, for hardware, for software, for databases, for networks. These days, you don't have to have specifics in all these things. You usually have options, and you can trade between one and another. Now, there's some inherent problems with making these kinds of changes. There's always going to be, but that's just life. The more you make these things into components that are interchangeable, the more choices that you get. And that's really important in a system when it gets to the point to where you need to make changes. Every system requires a lot of changes being made. So, I don't have anything else more to say about that. Some people think this is dehumanizing, and to a certain extent, it is. Um, it's getting harder and harder to find indispensable people for your company. That's tricky for almost everybody. Even your founder, the founder of your company, often is not indispensable. So that's a little hard for people to deal with because of that happening. We're going to have another video, especially about people and how they fit into systems, and especially the modern system. And I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to try to help you with how to cope with it, but it's something that you might want to talk about in the discussion. So, thanks a lot for watching.